A statue that moves when no one is watching. A relic from an age of gods and myths, shifting in the darkness as if possessed by an unseen force. Is this merely a trick of the light? A simple shift in balance? Or could it be something far more profound? Something buried deep within the forgotten rites of the ancients? This is no ordinary tale of superstition. The story of the Greek statue that moves at night is one wrapped in layers of lost knowledge, forbidden rituals, and whispers of an art long erased from history. An art that once allowed stone to breathe, to listen, and perhaps to obey. To uncover the chilling truth behind the moving statue, we must travel back to an era when statues were not mere decorations, but vessels of divine power, when priests, mystics, and initiates of secret orders knew the secrets of Anoia, the sacred force believed to awaken the soul within stone. What did the ancients know that we have forgotten? What secrets were lost when their temples crumbled? And more importantly, what if this knowledge was never truly lost, but merely hidden? Statues do not move on their own, or do they? To understand the mystery of the moving statue, we must first journey back to the cradle of Western civilization, ancient Greece. Here, in a world where gods walked among mortals and the veil between the physical and the spiritual was thin, statues were far more than mere works of art. They were vessels of power, conduits for the divine. The ancient Greeks believed that statues could be imbued with the essence of the gods they represented. This practice, known as Anoia, involved elaborate rituals to awaken the spirit within the stone. Priests and mystics would chant incantations, burn sacred herbs, and anoint the statues with oils, all in an effort to invite the divine presence into the physical form. But this was not mere superstition. The Greeks were inheritors of even older traditions, stretching back to the lost civilizations of Atlantis and Lemuria, where it was said that the ancients possessed the knowledge to animate stone and metal. These secrets were guarded by esoteric schools, passed down through generations of initiates, and hidden from the unworthy. One such school was the Orphic Mysteries, a secretive cult that worshipped Orpheus, the legendary musician who ventured into the underworld and returned with forbidden knowledge. The Orphics believed that the soul was immortal and that the material world was but a shadow of a higher reality. To them, statues were not lifeless objects but gateways to the divine, capable of bridging the gap between worlds. Yet, as Christianity rose to power, these ancient practices were condemned as heresy. Statues were toppled, temples destroyed, and the knowledge of Anoia was all but erased. But whispers of this power persisted, hidden in the margins of medieval manuscripts and the oral traditions of secret societies. Could the moving statue be a remnant of this lost art? A relic of a time when the boundaries between the spiritual and the material were not so rigid? To answer this, we must delve deeper into the core of this mystery, into the very essence of what it means to bring stone to life. To understand the mystery of statues that move in the night, we must look beyond history, beyond what is written in books, and turn to what has been whispered through the ages in secret halls and forbidden texts. The idea that statues could come to life is not a mere folktale. It is a concept deeply embedded in the fabric of ancient spiritual traditions, Hermetic sciences, and even modern physics. The Greeks were not alone in their belief that statues could be more than cold, lifeless figures. Similar practices existed in ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and even the distant temples of India. These civilizations understood something we have long forgotten. Matter is not dead. It is energy, vibrating at different frequencies. In ancient times, statues were created not only as representations of the divine, but as anchors for consciousness. The materials used, marble, bronze, even certain types of sacred stone, were chosen with precision, believed to hold unique energetic properties. But the secret was not in the material alone. It was in the ritual, the activation. Esoteric traditions describe a process known as theophany, in which a deity or spiritual force is invited to inhabit a sacred object. This is why the ancients performed elaborate ceremonies before unveiling a new statue. The process involved the opening of the eyes, a ritual where the priest or sculptor would symbolically awaken the statue by painting its pupils or using special incantations to give it sight. But what if these statues were not merely believed to be alive? What if in some way they were? What if through forgotten techniques, ancient mystics found a way to merge spirit with stone, consciousness with matter? Modern science tells us that matter can store and transmit information. Could it be that certain statues, especially those exposed to generations of worship, have absorbed energy over time, enough to manifest movement, even thought? Perhaps the mystery of the moving statue is not one of superstition, but of forgotten science, a lost understanding of how intention, energy, and consciousness interact with the material world. And if that knowledge was once possessed, could it still exist, hidden in the shadows of esoteric societies, waiting to be rediscovered? If statues can move, if they can act in ways beyond explanation, then we must ask, what force is animating them? Could these figures be infused with more than just myth, perhaps with something living, something aware? Among the deepest mysteries of esoteric traditions lies the belief that consciousness is not bound by flesh. The Hermeticists, the Pythagoreans, and even the Orphic cults all hinted at a hidden truth, that the soul, or rather fragments of consciousness, can be transferred, embedded, even trapped within objects under the right conditions. But how? This process was known by many names. The Greeks called it empnepsi, the breath of the gods. In Egypt, it was called opening of the mouth, a ritual to give statues and mummies the ability to speak and move. In certain mystical sects, it was whispered that these rituals could do more than invoke divine presence. They could bind a soul within stone. But what happens when a vessel is left abandoned? When a spirit, once revered, is forgotten? Some believe that certain statues, especially those created in the ancient world, have absorbed centuries of energy, not just from the rituals that once empowered them, but from the countless eyes that gazed upon them in reverence or fear. Science has revealed that human intention affects the material world. Experiments have shown that our thoughts, our focus, can alter the structure of water, even the behavior of subatomic particles. Could it be that these statues, bathed in generations of belief, have become something more? No longer mere objects, but receptacles of a dormant force waiting to awaken. If these ancient methods still hold power, then we must ask, is the moving statue simply a remnant of forgotten knowledge, or is it something far more chilling? A presence that lingers, unseen, just beneath the surface of the stone? And if so, what does it see when it moves in the night? For centuries, humanity has sculpted gods in its own image, chiseled into marble, cast in bronze, carved from wood. But what if, in doing so, we have given these figures more than just form? What if somewhere along the way, we unknowingly gave them life? Ancient rituals, lost knowledge, whispers of forgotten civilizations, all point to a world where statues were not merely cold, inanimate stone. To the ancients, they were vessels, conduits, entities in waiting. And now, as history fades and reason takes its place, we assume the past was merely superstition. But what if it was a warning? If these statues were once awakened, what happens when they are forgotten? Do they slumber, or do they wait? The museum guards swear that they hear footsteps when no one is there. The cameras glitch at the precise moment's movement is reported. The statue is found misplaced, its pose subtly different from the day before. Skeptics call it coincidence, but the ancients knew better. They understood that stone remembers, and some secrets refuse to be buried. So tonight, as you turn off the lights and drift into sleep, ask yourself this: what if something is watching you, something that cannot blink?